Welcome back to the Angela Box Show. I'm Angela Box. I'm really excited to have with me my very first Turning Point USA guest. Turning Point is a new sponsor of the show, and they were very kind to give me the great Morgonn McMichael from Turning Point USA. So welcome, Morgonn, to the Angela Box Show.
I am so glad to be here. Thank you for having me on, Angela.
Yeah, so we were just talking off camera. I never get tired of talking about the left's indoctrination of children and their obsession with putting sexualized content in front of kids for some reason. But you evidently were one of the first people that went viral with the stuff with Target. So tell everyone what happened and low clap.
It was definitely unexpected. I just walked into a Target store one day, took a video, and I saw the tucking bathing suit and the binding top and just like the trans lives matter, all the random t-shirts that were created. And then it made me even more angry come to find out that there was a satanic designer behind a lot of the pieces. And then come to find out that they were actually funding, Target itself was funding Pride LGBTQ education directly for children. So as the last couple of weeks have gone on, I have just been shocked and blown away with the response. I mean, now Target's lost over $12 billion, and we saw the Bud Light situation. And really, it just makes me so angry that these corporate companies think they can get away with indoctrinating our next generation and putting this type of material, especially in front of children. So it's been a wild couple of weeks, and I really just want to put a stop to these corporations of being able to sell these types of merchandise, especially targeting kids.
Well, listen, you give me hope because, as I say, when Gen Z takes over, gird your loins, America and world. But, people like you give me hope. Do more people, because you're Gen Z, and Gen Z is, notoriously woke and clutching their pearls over all this. So have you found that there are more people coming to your side because of the hard push to kids, and they're waking up to this?
I've seen some Gen Zers. I will say a large part of our generation, they're in the college system. They're being indoctrinated themselves as young adults still. And so it is a little scary looking towards the future, but I do still have hope for the next generation, which is why I do what I do, being with Turning Point USA as a contributor. I'm just able to use my voice and really help Gen Z wake up and be undoctrinated, because they've gone through systemic, like, I don't think about systemic racism. Think about the systemic indoctrination that has been going on over the last 2 decades under parents' noses and not knowing really what their kids are learning in school. So I do see hope for Gen Z. There are a lot of Gen Zers coming out, like with the Young Women's Leadership Summit, thousands of women that are going to be gathered learning about America and why we need to have American pride and not LGBTQ pride this month is going to be awesome. But I do have hope for our next generation, and I think that we just need more people like us speaking out. Parents need to be proactive with the school boards, and our generation needs to stop fearing cancel culture, because at the end of the day, cancel culture is what fuels their fire.
Absolutely. You'd have when they come at you, you're like, and so like you just have to say, I don't care, and I'm gonna keep going. And I love that Turning Point, certainly, Turning Point USA has been on my radar for as long as it's been in existence. And it's so gratifying to see this grassroots movement grow into such a force that it has. And I think Target and these other woke companies, Adidas and Kohl's with the my baby's trans onesie, I mean, they're starting to feel the wrath of normal Americans. And it gives me hope that maybe they're going to be pulling back, because I think Benny Johnson had a video a couple of days ago when he went through Target and he was like, yep, it's gone. So Target seems to be listening. Oh, I can't hear you. I can, it's like echoey. Well, I'll just keep talking until, Benny Johnson the other day, for those of you that don't know, Benny Johnson's a really popular podcaster, and he went to Target and basically saw that all the Pride stuff, yeah, I can hear you now, saw that all the Pride stuff was gone, and he was like, yay, victory.
Yay. Yes, I'm so sorry about that.
That's
But
okay.
it's been absolutely crazy seeing how these corporations have really listened to their consumers with what's been going on, because I think a lot of companies have seen now what happened with Target, what happened with Bud Light. And so they fear that happening to their own companies themselves. And so they are taking down the pride logos off their social media. They're not posting as outwardly prideful things because they don't want to lose billions of dollars too. And I think that's why us consumers need to keep the pressure on these companies and tell them stop doing this to the kids, because that's the thing. And I also think these companies are doing it for an ulterior motive outside of just feeling woke. It's also the ESG scores, because the more diversity, equity, and inclusion that they have, the CEI, it all goes back to their ESG scores. So as companies, they're going to be rated higher for being more woke. So they don't care, a lot of them, if they're going to be losing money, and they're just doing it for the higher ups. I know a lot of Target employees have come out saying, like, yeah, we didn't like the collection, but managers don't listen to us. And so it's really crazy to see what is going on in our country. It's 2023 and we're worrying about pride flags. And that's what's really crazy, is how did we allow our country to get to this place in the first place?
Well, if you listen to what Larry Fink of BlackRock said, and he makes no bones about it. He said, listen, we have to drag the American people kicking and screaming along with our agenda, the race agenda and the gender ideology crap. And the American people are like, not so fast. I think the best thing, the only good thing that came out of the Rona was the fact that the parents got to hear what the hell was going on being taught to their kids. And of course, that's how it got started with Joe Biden stepping in and calling parents domestic terrorists. And, now the crazy pride people, the alphabet people are calling anyone that is pushing back on this, domestic terrorists, threatening to bomb targets. You're not hearing about that on the news. I wonder why.
No, it's absolutely crazy, because I think a lot of good things did happen from 2020 and the corona happening in our world, because yes, parents were listening to what their kids were being taught. And if it weren't for that, I think the indoctrination would be going a lot further than it is, because now you have the school boards that are having to show the curriculum that is being taught. What is this gender ideology being taught to kindergartners all the way through seniors in high school? And that's what people don't realize, is it's not just sex ed in high school that's being taught to these kids. It's starting as young as kindergarten, with the books that are in the classrooms, the books that are being read. I mean, American flags have been ripped from some classrooms. You're told it's okay to sit during the national anthem. And what happened to loving a country and teaching our next generation and our kids not what the country can do for them, but what they can do for their country and to serve the country and make it a better place? And so we've really started to lose sight of those core American values. And the more that I see these public education schools posting about Pride Month, especially this month, a lot of Pride things have been coming out about public schools. I mean, really, it's just pushing more for homeschooling. And it's a great homeschool ad for parents out there, because at this point, I don't even know who wants to send their kids to the public school system, knowing that starting in kindergarten, you'll be met with pride flags in the classrooms, the gay BCs, and all of these other ridiculous books.
Yeah, the problem is, of course, is that the people that can pull their kids out will. And so who's left? The lower socioeconomic, a high minority population. I mean, they're really set on indoctrinating the next generation. I mean, it's straight out of the Communist Handbook. It's one of the pillars of communism. Start with the kids. And I talk about this on my show a lot. We are really, as a culture, I think an amalgam of both 1984 and Brave New World. And in Brave New World especially, they talked highly about sexualizing children. And people need to go back and read Brave New World, because it was actually written before 1984. And the idea that we need to teach anal sex to kindergartners. And, when Ron DeSantis put up the bill to stop sexualized content in front of K through third, they gaslit everyone. The don't say gay thing, the Disney jumped in. It's like, they have to gaslight, they have to lie, because when you tell people what they're actually doing, they're like, well, I'm not for that. And then they have no response. So they just try and terrorize everybody.
Absolutely. And then you have companies like Disney that are implicitly indoctrinating kids through the media. So think about it, a kid, you see all these kids that are on iPads, they can't fully be monitored by their parents at all times. So our next generation is fully consuming this media, not just in schools, not just in preschool now, but also on the phones, on the iPads, YouTube Kids. I once went on YouTube Kids and just looked up gay. If a 5-year-old's told, yeah, you could be gay, and they just looked that up on YouTube Kids, the videos that pop up are absolutely astonishing. There are now content creators, adults, that are making this type of content content directly targeting children. So it's not just Disney, it's not just Nickelodeon, but it's every single type of media company that is targeting children. And it's crazy that you mentioned communism, because with Turning Point, I'll go to college campuses and interview college students and say, hey, what are your thoughts? Socialism or capitalism, communism or capitalism, what's better? And the amount of students who actually believe that communism is going to save our country and it just hasn't been done the right way is absolutely insane. There are actually people that live in one of the freest countries of the world with the innumerable amounts of opportunity in America, yet they will sit there and to help other people. It's absolutely absurd that a lot of these college students have been truly brainwashed.
They've been brainwashed. It's like, listen, do you know in Venezuela, they have to literally go to the zoos and eat zebras because there's no food, and the government has taken over the oil wells and they have no energy anymore. Like, these people, like, they're dumb. They're dumb. I mean, there's a lot of dumb, and they need people to be very dumb. I like to say, these leftists need people, fat, lazy, dumb, woke, confused, and compliant. If they can get those 6 things, man, they're going for it. And we've got to be not afraid to expose. We've got to not afraid to humiliate these people. I love what you're doing. You're a much nicer person than me, I can tell. So maybe one day we can go tag team on a college campus together.
No, it's really crazy seeing this stuff. I mean, I would beg for anybody who wants socialism or capitalism to go to Cuba or Venezuela. I would love for any of these people that are talking about women don't have women's rights and we need more human rights to go to a country in the Middle East and, you know, show their hair, show their fair skin, and see what happens over there, because truly America is the greatest country of the world. We have so much opportunity here. And I think it's one of those things of a lot of people just lack perspective and have no idea what they have until it's gone.
Yeah, we've got Dr. Rachel Levine and Karine Jean-Pierre, you know, celebrating Pride Month in the White House as the whole world goes to crap. And this is what they're focused on: putting a pride flag on all the American embassies, putting a pride flag right under the American flag, because evidently, 3 to 5%, it used to be 3 to 5% were gay and lesbian. You know, I'm old enough to remember when GLAAD just had the G and the L and the AAB. Now they need to add to the acronym. But like that, this is what we're focused on. We're a laughing stock around the world.
Now in Rockefeller Center, they replaced every single country flag with pride flags in New York City. And it's just a sea of pride flags. It is absolutely absurd. And just, what's the point? What happened to American pride? We need to get back to honestly the 60s. I feel like we're a great era in American history of just
but this
freedom.
Is when it started to go bad, Morgan.
That is true. That is true. But people, I feel like, loved America and had appreciation for the country way more back then.
All right, we're out of time. Please let everyone know how they can reach you and support your work.
You can find me on Turning Point USA anywhere. If you can spell my name, you'll find me, Morgonn, and it's just Morgan.
It's not Morgan, it's just Morgan. Morgan, wonderful to have you on the Angela Box Show. I hope you will be back. And ladies and gentlemen, I will be right back. You're listening to the Angela Box Show. See you in a minute.